11 plus deep lessons from the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Number 1. Until you break from the way you see your present reality, any change in your life will always be haphazard and transitory. You have to overhaul your thinking about why things happen in order to produce enduring and desired outcomes. To do that, you'll need to be open to a new interpretation of what is real and true. Number 2. Most people focus on 3 things in life: their environment, their bodies, and time. They don't just focus on those 3 elements, they think equal to them. But to break the habit of being yourself, you have to think greater than the circumstances of your life, be greater than the feelings that you have memorized in your body, and live in a new line of time. If you want to change, you must have in your thoughts an idealized self, a model that you can emulate, which is different from, and better than, the you that exists today in your particular environment, body, and time. Every great person in history knew how to do this, and you can attain greatness in your own life once you master the concepts and techniques to come. Number 3. Your boss arrives for your performance review. You notice immediately that he looks red-faced, even irritated. As he starts speaking in a loud voice, you smell garlic on his breath. He accuses you of undermining him in front of other employees and says he has passed you over for a promotion. In this moment, you feel jittery, weak in the knees, and queasy, and your heart is racing. You feel fearful, betrayed, and angry. All of the cumulative sensory information, everything you're smelling, seeing, feeling, and hearing, is changing your internal state. You associate that external experience with a change in how you're feeling internally, and it brands you emotionally. You go home and repeatedly review this experience in your mind. Every time you do, you remind yourself of the accusing, intimidating look on your employer's face, how he yelled at you, what he said, and even how he smelled. Then you once again feel fearful and angry. You produce the same chemistry in your brain and body as if the performance review is still happening. Because your body believes it is experiencing the same event again and again, you are conditioning it to live in the past. Let's reason this a bit further. Think of your body as the unconscious mind, or as an objective servant that takes orders from your consciousness. It is so objective that it doesn't know the difference between the emotions that are created from experiences in your external world and those you fabricate in your internal world by thought alone. To the body, they are the same. What if the cycle of thinking and feeling that you were betrayed continues for years on end? If you keep dwelling on that experience with your boss, or reliving those familiar feelings day in and day out, you continually signal your body with chemical feelings that it associates with the past. This chemical continuity fools the body into believing that it is still re-experiencing the past. So the body keeps reliving the same emotional experience. When your memorized thoughts and feelings consistently force your body to be in the past, we could say that the body becomes the memory of the past. If those memorized feelings of betrayal have been driving your thoughts for years, then your body has been living in the past 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. In time, your body is anchored in the past. You know that when you repeatedly recreate the same emotions until you cannot think any greater than how you feel, your feelings are now the means of your thinking. And since your feelings are a record of previous experiences, you're thinking in the past. And by quantum law, you create more of the past. Bottom line, most of us live in the past and resist living in a new future. Why? The body is so habituated to memorizing the chemical records of our past experiences that it grows attached to these emotions. In a very real sense, we become addicted to those familiar feelings. So when we want to look to the future and dream of new vistas and bold landscapes in our not-too-distant reality, the body, whose currency is feelings, resists the sudden change in direction. Accomplishing this about-face is the great labor of personal change. So many people struggle to create a new destiny, but find themselves unable to overcome the past memory of who they feel they are. Even if we crave unknown adventures and dream of new possibilities ahead in the future, we seem to be compelled to revisit the past. Feelings and emotions are not bad. They are the end products of experience. But if we always relive the same ones, we can't embrace any new experiences. Have you known people who always seem to talk about the good old days? What they're really saying is, nothing new is happening in my life to stimulate my feelings. Therefore, I'll have to reaffirm myself from some glorious moments in the past. If we believe that our thoughts have something to do with our destiny, then as creators, most of us are only going in circles. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day. Number 4. We communicate with the quantum field primarily through our thoughts and feelings. Since our thoughts are themselves energy, as you know, the electrical impulses the brain generates can easily be measured by devices such as an EEG. They are one of the primary means by which we send out signals into the field. Number 5. To experience change, observe a new outcome with a new mind. To change our reality, those outcomes that we attract to ourselves have to surprise, even astonish, us in the way in which they come about. We should never be able to predict how our new creations will manifest. They must catch us off guard. They have to wake us up from the dream of the routine reality that we've grown accustomed to. These manifestations should leave us with no doubt that our consciousness made contact with the quantum field of intelligence, so we are inspired to do this again. That is the joy of the creative process. Why should you want a quantum surprise? If you can predict an event, it is nothing new. It's routine, automatic, and you have experienced it many times before. If you can predict it, you produce the same familiar outcome. In fact, if you're trying to control how an outcome will occur, you just went Newtonian. Classical physics was about trying to anticipate and predict events. It was all about cause and effect. Number 6. Hold a clear intention of what you want, but leave the how details to the unpredictable quantum field. Let it orchestrate an event in your life in a way that is just right for you. If you're going to expect anything, expect the unexpected. Surrender, trust, and let go of how a desired event will unfold. This is the biggest hurdle for most to overcome, because we human beings always want to control a future reality, unknown, by trying to recreate how it occurred in a past reality, known. Number 7. Aligning our thoughts and feelings to produce the result we want requires letting go of the details surrounding how that event will come about. That's a leap of faith, and it is necessary if we are to exchange a life of humdrum, predictable outcomes for a joyful life of new experiences and quantum surprises. But we'll need to make yet another leap of faith to bring what we want into reality. Under what circumstances are you typically grateful? You may answer, I'm grateful for my family, the nice home I have, my friends, and my job. What those things have in common is that they're already in your life. Generally, we are grateful for something that already happened or is already present in our lives. You and I have been conditioned into believing that we need a reason for joy, a motivation to feel gratitude, grounds to be in a state of love. That's relying on external reality to make us feel different internally. It's Newton's model. The new model of reality challenges us as quantum creators to change something within us, in mind and body, in our thoughts and feelings, before we can experience the physical evidence with our senses. Can you give thanks and feel the elevated emotions associated with a desired event before it occurs? Can you imagine that reality so completely that you begin to be in that future life now? Number 8. When you are in a state of gratitude, you transmit a signal into the field that an event has already occurred. Gratitude is more than an intellectual thought process. You have to feel as though whatever you want is in your reality at this very moment. Thus, your body, which only understands feelings, must be convinced that it has the emotional quotient of the future experience happening to you now. Number 9. The question at the heart of this book is this: why don't we send out a signal that will produce a positive outcome for us? How can we change so that the signal we send out matches what we intend to produce in our lives? We will change when we fully commit to the belief that by choosing the thought signal we send out, we will produce an effect that is observable and unexpected. With this objective intelligence, we are not punished for our sins, that is, our thoughts, feelings, and actions, but by them. When we project into the field a signal based on the thoughts and feelings, such as suffering, produced by some undesirable experiences in our past, is it any wonder that the field responds in the same negative way? How many times have you uttered these words, or very similar ones? I can't believe it. Why does this always happen to me? based on your new understanding of the nature of reality. Do you now see that those statements reflect your acceptance of the Newtonian Cartesian model in which you are a victim of cause and effect? Do you see that you are fully capable of causing an effect yourself? Do you see that instead of responding in the man-NER above, you could be asking yourself, how can I think, feel, and behave differently to produce the effect result that I want? Our mission, then, is to willfully move into the state of consciousness that allows us to connect to universal intelligence, make direct contact with the field of possibilities, and send out a clear signal that we truly expect to change and to see the results that we want in the form of feedback produced in our lives. Number 10. The greatest individuals in history were unwaveringly committed to a future destiny without any need for immediate feedback from the environment. It didn't matter to them if they hadn't yet received any sensory indication or physical evidence of the change they wanted. They must have reminded themselves daily of the reality they were focused upon. Their minds were ahead of their present environment because their environment no longer controlled their thinking. Truly, they were ahead of their time. Number 11. By definition, emotions are the end products of past experiences in life. When you're in the midst of an experience, the brain receives vital information from the external environment through 5 different sensory pathways: sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch. As that cumulative sensory data reaches the brain and is processed, networks of neurons arrange themselves into specific patterns reflecting the external event. The moment those nerve cells string into place, the brain releases chemicals. Those chemicals are called an emotion or a feeling. Number 12. Most people spend the majority of their time preoccupied with negative thoughts and feelings. Is it likely that most of the things that are happening in our present circumstances are negative? Obviously not. Negativity runs so high because we are either living in anticipation of stress or re-experiencing it through a memory. So most of our thoughts and feelings are driven by those strong hormones of stress and survival. When our stress response is triggered, we focus on 3 things, and they are of highest importance. The body. It must be taken care of. The environment. Where can I go to escape this threat? Time. How much of it do I have to use in order to evade this threat? Living in survival is the reason why we humans are so dominated by the big 3. The stress response and the hormones that it triggers force us to focus on and obsess about the body, the environment, and time. As a result, we begin to define ourselves within the confines of the physical realm. We become less spiritual, less conscious, less aware, and less mindful. Living in survival causes us to focus on the 0.00001% instead of the 99.99999% of reality. Number 13. Living in creation is living as a nobody. Ever notice that when you're truly in the midst of creating anything, you forget about yourself? You dissociate from your known world. You are no longer a somebody who associates your identity with certain things you own, particular people you know, certain tasks you do, and different places you lived at specific times. You could say that when you are in a creative state, you forget about the habit of being you. You lay down your selfish ego and become selfless. You have moved beyond time and space and become pure, immaterial awareness. Once you're no longer connected to a body, no longer focused on people, places, or things in your external environment, and beyond linear time, you're entering the door of the quantum field. You cannot enter as a somebody. You must do so as a nobody. You have to leave the self-centered ego at the door and enter the realm of consciousness as pure consciousness.